Hello and welcome to LedgerCast. My name is Brian Krarsgaard here with Josh Olswich. Hey, Josh.
Mr. Brian, good to be with you.
It is a pleasure to be with you, sir. And it's a pleasure to be brought to you by TokenSets. Go to ledgerstatus.com/tokensets. Actually, /sets. I think TokenSets works too. ledgerstatus.com/sets. It's asset management for DeFi world. Bring your crypto strategies to life on Ethereum and Polygon and maybe soon elsewhere. With Sets leading portfolio management tools, the DeFi Pulse Index runs on TokenSets. My own Tulip runs on TokenSets. They've also got a lot of other stuff that integrates via their stuff, like Bankless's Bed product, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and DeFi as kind of like a tri-crypto thing. But it's not tri-crypto, that's a curve thing. TokenSets is awesome. I use it, I trade with it, I invest via TokenSets. ledgerstatus.com/sets. Josh, why is this screen full of red?
I don't know. I was going to ask you. What's going on?
My bags aren't going up today, and it's sad. I've become numb to the gains, which is probably why they had to go down. It's been a very impressive few weeks of recovery for all of crypto, even though Bitcoin in particular and Ethereum to a lesser degree been a little bit muted, but things been looking pretty good across the board. And today we got some drawdown. What are we up against here? What's the state of the market, sir?
I'll say it again because I think it really matters. Because it's September, for whatever reason, us humans and our weird calendar. By the way, shouldn't we just have like 12 months with 30 days in every month?
Would that add up to 365?
I don't know. We could fix it.
I don't think so.
365 is a myth anyway.
I like that. We're getting right into it here today. It's only 360. So it's almost as if some months you might do 30, some months you might do 31. February, though, we can talk about February. February is stupid. Okay, continue.
September, historically, not a good month for crypto for whatever reason. Q4, Q1, rollover, quad witching today. I don't know. Taxes, like who knows? I don't know why it stacked up the way it has, but September is always junk.
A friend of mine told me there was $1.3 trillion rolling over in legacy today.
Yeah, I saw.
Which is just incredible.
Something about that. It is insane. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of trillions.
It is a lot of money. No, I'm sorry, 3.4 trillion.
I was going to say three. I see it now too. 3.4.
A little dyslexia there. $3.4 trillion in options expire today. 780 million single stock options, and then index and stock futures. Just nutso.
Yeah, so volatility today specifically, I think, is fine. September in general is just whatever month. So, as far as like us being sideways or flat or up or down, whatever, let the alts have their fun. Let Solana run up to 6,500. I don't care.
Bro, I've been watching. If you think it's running to 6,500, Solana is in panic mode right now. Solana went down. It was straight up like 2017 IOTA style. It just
IOTA.
Not the price went down. The network went down. Sorry, the price also went down. But yeah, so it's at 139 after a high of 215. So let's assume you bought the high. You would currently be down 35%, but a low of about 38%. More importantly, the chart looks bad. Like, it looks real bad. Losing the 20-day, losing the first support fib that you've got up there. I think Solana is at risk of sub 100 price action personally. It lost momentum is the most important thing, and it had more momentum than anything in the market. You just can't go down. It went down for like 48 hours, like the network.
Yeah. For whatever reason, we hit the 4618 on stuff frequently when we go parabolic. I don't know if there's like some backtesting data on that, but ETH has done it multiple times. I've seen other altcoins do it. Yeah, you can't go down, and people were like celebrating it going back up and buying, and that's just not for me. But if you made money, cool. 123 is the cloud level that looks like it definitely needs to hold. because that's the key June there. Really, what
I think I was going to lose it, but that'd be one of the types of places that would be a good bear trap, right? It gets to 123 and you're like, oh, it's going sub 100, and then it doesn't. I personally think it's going to sweep 100 and cause the same type of panic, but at like 90, and people will say it's going back to 56 or whatever that level is.
Yeah, it's losing the midline here too. One thing I really liked on alts is these MA multipliers. Use whichever MA you want, whichever time frame, just sort of curve fit it. And because that's what you have to do. There's just isn't enough data. Yeah. And on Solana, it hit the top again.
And at 4.618, we talked about it being just like Aave. We talked about 200 being what we thought would be the top. And we went to 215, but that's how those things happen. It was even intraday, so whatever. I think we nailed it.
I think people get greedy. They FOMO in.
They forget to take profits as well.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the euphoria thing, but here's me who set out the entire run saying take profit, right? So no one's going to care what I have to say anyway, but yeah, it doesn't look too good for Solana. And they need some healing. They need some soul searching after the network.
I have a shirt. A shirt that says it's good for the soul. Maybe now that Solana's down, I can wear my shirts in public again.
I didn't even realize that was a joke.
It is. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Soul searching. AVAX, again, this MA multiplier thing isn't perfect for everything, but
it's going to $150 is what I see on your chart.
It's when stuff is like flat, straight up, straight down. I don't think MA multipliers do too well functionally, but I don't know. 150. It's a 2x from here.
That's not even Solana parity.
It does have this.
Importantly, peep those horizontals. I got them for you. I happen to have those handy for you, Josh. You look at those.
No, it has. I was going to say it has this inverted head and shoulders quality to it.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't really looking at that, but yeah, certainly
cup and handle,
a vertical accumulation.
Yeah, I mean it's a bunch of things and nothing non-specific, anything, right? But to me, it's not bearish.
To me, the most important is February 2011. I mean February 2021, 2000, and then
is that dyslexia creeping its ugly head again?
I'm like out of it. August, and then it did a bounce around here in September, but now has cleared it. To me, that's just like you're tapping it too many times to not give it a go, in my opinion. So I'm biased, but like I just look at that chart, deserted island. You gotta be pretty excited about that chart relative to, for example, that Solana chart. There's a clear play there in my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely night and day. Yeah, this looks good. We talked about ADA at the beginning. I'll just say that this looks terrible. Again, like just at a glance below the cloud, this definitely looks bearish. Descending triangle and or head and shoulders. The volume is there. It just doesn't look good for ADA USD.
Good.
Which is shocking, Brian. We have smart contracts that should be at $8 by now. What's going on?
It's almost like they're selling the news and creating a distribution in amongst the actual release of the product, because people will now not use the product and it will be disappointing and it will go down.
I think Gloomdart was saying something like that. Like the best thing you could do is delay.
Yeah, because you keep a firm hold on the hopium. Before we get away too far, this is Solana versus AVAX. And I find that interesting. So if you are as good as Hisaka and you can rotate perfectly, you had a 3x on the upside holding Solana but not AVAX. That was when I was coping. And now down 60% where Solana people are coping. Where will this find a middle ground? I don't know. Does this chart matter? I don't know. I just found it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great for Solana, but again, you can't go down when you're at all-time highs in price and activity and whatever else, right? I understand how that happens. That just kills it, like you already said. But.
Josh, I love you're in the chat. responding to someone as the counter trador.
I just thought of that. I haven't seen that meme, but we should make it.
Dude, I got tons of them. People are, the counter trador is all over me. SatStart has the definitive list of all the doors. And it is, I mean, it's just unbelievably good. I'm going to find it. Goodness, he's got so many of them. But that meme is one of my favorites, and people have turned it into pretty much anything possible that you could possibly do it with. It is the master thread, and we need to give it its due. So follow SatStart and enjoy some quality memeage. It's right there. SatStart, the or meme thread. The counter trader is good. So good. We need to add it to the list if it's not already there.
I haven't seen it. It probably does exist, but
I mean, he's got like 30 of them.
I didn't realize there were that many.
There's so many. I see them all the time. People are in my mentions with them constantly. SatStart. Friday follow.
As far as BTC and ETH, nothing looks super exciting, but I think buys, if I'm correct about Q4, which is a big if, but I think buys here are fine for Q4. Across the board. I mean, a bunch of DeFi stuff looks really good. Sushi's kind of whipsawed back and forth. You guys had him on up only, right? The other day?
Jonathan DeLong from Sushi. Yeah. And then as is classic up only, something terrible happened right afterwards. They got hacked and it was the top. So like the Miso front end got hacked, and their Toyota Sedona meme NFT thing had a vulnerability and caused problems.
Didn't they lose?
And 0x Maki left. God, just don't come on up only. It's a very dangerous thing to do. Yeah, but in general, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's see, you're looking at BTC right now, right?
This is ETH.
Oh, that's ETH?
Yeah.
Still, they both look pretty similar. When I look at Bitcoin, the 200-day moving average is right here at 45.7. We've just been churning around it. And it's flat. Like the pace of the 200-day is always interesting. So once it flattens, that basically means on average, day over day, we're not moving. So we're now reaching, a really long time, 200 plus bars where we're neither up or down. We've spent about half that time above, half that time below. Now we figure out what's next. A lot of times this 20-day flip occurs, and that is very bullish. You can see it back here late July. That's what got us out of the doldrums. We rode it, we lost it. And it's not to say that I like to get out when we lose it, but I think levering up or looking for potential dominance when we regain it is always interesting. It looks like it was a fake out or like a rejection. I was warning about this potential last night that, Bitcoin could get a little spicy around the 20-day. But it looks like we're just going to keep chopping now. Ethereum, similarly, I don't really know what level interests me in Ethereum. Maybe below 3,200, we could get more severe downside. But they just look like a bunch of chop to me right now, and not stuff I want to be trading. What do you think?
Just go outside, enjoy the last of whatever season you're in around the world. And
it's almost fall, which is around my parts one of the nicest times of the year.
It's PSL season.
What's that mean?
Pumpkin spice latte.
I did not know that was a thing. Oh man.
Here's my simple version of targets, like 20k ETH, 200k BTC, 0.1 ETH BTC, right?
Yep.
That's how the math works out.
Yeah, ETH BTC still looks good to me overall. Like, I have yet to be drawn in to say, you know what, I just have to own Bitcoin right now. I have 6K on my Ethereum chart. I've had it on my Ethereum chart. I'm going to keep having it on my Ethereum chart. And if we pull off this 2017 fractal again, it would line up with kind of the end of the year, January. We can go do price exploration in Ethereum. And I just think that'll be more rapid than whatever happens with Bitcoin. unless we get really lucky, Josh, and Bitcoin runs in like November and Ethereum runs in December or something like that, that would be ideal. You know, like I'd love to actually see ETH BTC get smoked because Bitcoin is going up. Like that's great. If they both go up together, you only get to play once. If they go up separately, you get to play twice. So as a rotator, that's what we would enjoy. So
I think I lost my train of thought completely.
the rotator meme got you.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry.
That
one was me. Like that was my life. The rotator.
We'll know by mid October. I said this a couple times already, but mid October we'll know. So in a month we will know exactly how bullish we are. I think the chop will be over, we'll see.
I was kind of hoping the chop was already over, but the seasonality seems to win again. It just keeps happening.
Yeah. Curve was up big too. Speaking of DeFi, but
yeah, Curve is just such an easy hold for me. Like I just been appreciating Curve. Like it's just the yield is so good on it using convex.
Well, that's why the price has been down.
Oh yeah,
the yields.
But now convex is eating all the Curve, so there's no supply. So it's creating a situation where you still have good yield, but you also have a supply crunch. So it's nice.
No, the reason I'm saying mid-October is because that's when the cloud on all this stuff is bullish. Even sushi, even this is crazy volatility over these past couple weeks. It's like it'll sneeze plus or minus 25%.
I mean, I got really excited about DeFi over the last week, and then last night it's like everything went down 12-15%. It just was like the smackdown on my hopium. So we'll see. It might still be layer 1 season. I don't think it's all over season.
I don't know. It doesn't look terrible. I remember what I was going to say. For me, it's not about like both going up or down or everything going up or down. It's just like, how good do the setups look for me to get conviction to use leverage in like massive size, right? That's what I'm excited for. It's just,
and right now that's not presented itself. So
right.
What do you need to see? What would present itself? I have a level on Bitcoin, 53K. If I get a daily close above the one that we nuked from, like the mini nuke that we got, I feel like if you get a daily close above that, we're going all time high.
53? Yeah, I mean that's a new local, right?
New local, but then like the area above is so narrow that I feel like you can just do price exploration. I just think that might take some time, right? Like we could bounce between 45 and 53 for quite a while.
Yeah, and on nearly every chart, BTC pair, USD pair, there is some sort of cup and handles thing going on. Even look at this volume; it's still nothing, right? Since May, volume hasn't really picked up yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, if this acts like a cup and handle and holds 41 and breaks 53, yeah, I like new all-time highs for sure. I mean, I like new all-time highs anyway in Q4, but sooner rather than later, if we hold those levels and break 53, for sure.
So if we continue sideways motions on the majors, that means there's room for activity and other stuff. We've seen lots of rotations. There's been the layer 1 trades that we talked about. Solana, we talked about Avalanche. There's others, Polygon, and other stuff.
We should be dancing in the streets because we're above the cloud.
Yeah,
like we've
made it.
We went crazy bull, crazy bear, and we're back to
boring, which should be fun for other things.
Back to bull.
But you know what, Josh? The NFT boom that occurred over the past couple of months, the volume slowed down quite a bit. There was also, I just want to have a little segment for OpenSea. Drama at OpenSea, the head of product, was front running their promotions for 19 Ethereum profit, which seems insane when he was on a rocket ship of a company worth billions. I don't want to stomp on his grave or anything, but caused.
Well, he had to have been. We saw 20 ETH. I saw that post too. It had to have been more than that, right?
Yeah.
Why would you destroy your reputation?
Yeah, he made a mistake on that one and accidentally sent it from the wrong address. And whatever. We're not here to stomp on the grave. He's gone, but it caused some drama in OpenSea. OpenSea volumes had already been down off the peaks. I mean, they're still super high relative to what they were, but kind of that unsustainable volume chilled a little bit. created 50 to 70% price corrections in a lot of top collections. Volume, a number of sales went down. So what really happened, you talk about price corrections, it really just means the fake floors. Kobe said something good where it's like at some point you realize that floors are not support, they're resistance. So a lot of floors just fell as people were trying to exit, and they would like undercut the floor. There was no buyers. So all of a sudden the floor is down 50% pretty quickly. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff over there in NFT land. I actually think it's probably not the worst time now. There's some stuff that I really like. But they also released a mobile app. Doesn't have payments, but it does have viewing. And yeah, I don't know. I'm still interested in NFTs. Still think it's an important part of the market. I do think there's a chance that they kind of lag for the rest of the year as people look for liquidity for taxes or for whatever other reasons. But that's one of the other areas in addition to layer one stuff where there's been big swings going on. Tropical in the chat said, quote, doesn't look terrible. That's Josh, bullish AF. Nah, he'll tell you when he's super bullish.
I just can't get behind NFTs. I just can't. I mean, even NBA Top Shots are like cooler to me than any of this other crap that's come out.
Yeah, but the supply on Top Shots is like quite high. Like they just kept making more of them.
That's fine. I get it. Look, there are pluses and minuses. There are reasons why certain NFTs have gone up in price, mainly because very few rich people have cornered the market and been very vocal about it. But, you know, different strokes for different folks, I guess. Volumes are way down. Not looking good. And then along with the OpenSea news, Sushi and Uni were both talking about making NFT marketplaces. At least Hayden was asking Twitter. That's what they should do. But
yeah, NFTX also released some updates to their existing NFT floor marketplace, but I think they're turning it into a full-on decentralized marketplace, and I think that's one to watch out for because they already had floor vaults. So if you have basic stuff within a collection, you could just sell it or buy directly from the vault. And now they're doing more direct listing type stuff, and I don't know, some things are interesting there. Yeah, Moniker says in the chat, like so rare is doing pretty well. A lot of partnership type of stuff. I think NFTs are just going mainstream, but that doesn't necessarily mean like these 200 Ethereum art blocks projects are like gonna find tons of buyers right now. And I really like a lot of the art block stuff. Just did a spaces with the art blocks founder. That was fun. And met another guy who put out an amazing project and that's done really well, but it's 100 pieces. So it's like, I think what's interesting about NFTs is there will be momentum for specific collections and specific artists that comes out. It'll be very tradable or very flippable, however you look at that. But I do think primarily like you only want to be bag holding a bunch of NFTs that you just want the NFT, you're in it for the art or whatever. If you're in it purely for the flip, like you could end up quite the bag holder and in some trouble from a liquidity and all that perspective. I talked about taxes and NFTs enough, but yeah, worth considering because some people are going to get freaking wrecked. And, you know, I don't want it to be our listeners, Josh.
Fair enough. I mean, I've been non-wrecked, but just staying out. Somebody told me somebody told me their grandma had more risk tolerance than I do. Like, well, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, throughout this show, like you've had less risk tolerance than me. I've always had a higher risk tolerance, and I
think my risk tolerance is for levered trades, whereas your risk tolerance is for
asset classes.
Yeah, non-major type stuff, right? Like I can risk up on levered stuff, no problem. But
and I can go get rugged.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Again, different strokes for different folks, you know?
Yep.
Talk to me about Arbitrum and what's going on there.
Yeah. So, I mean, the layer 2 ecosystem for Ethereum is important because layer 1 is untenable. We're burning a lot of Ethereum, which is cool. The monetary policy of Ethereum being less inflationary and eventually maybe even deflationary is interesting. But we still need to transact in a way that doesn't make us go freaking broke. And I've done decently in crypto, and I like feel physical pain when I use Ethereum layer 1. So if somebody has like $10,000 in the market, like they could spend $10,000 in fees if they're doing stuff every day, very quickly, in fact. And so it's obviously untenable. So there's going to be people who live on layer 2, but not all layer 2s are the same. There's side chains, there's alternative layer 1s that are EVM compatible, and then there are rollups. And there are two types of rollups, optimistic and ZK rollups. Currently, Optimism is the primary optimistic rollup solution, and Arbitrum is one of the ZK solutions, I think. Oh, God. Arbitrum, there's a graph somewhere you can compare them. It doesn't matter. The point is, Optimism and Arbitrum have Ethereum layer 1 security models because they're directly derivative of Ethereum layer 1. But so they're like what you would call a proper layer 1. They're not an EVM compatible. I'm sorry, they're a proper layer 2. They're not an EVM compatible chain based on security model of its own. So BSC is an EVM compatible layer 1 chain. It's really a side chain in my mind, or Polygon is very similar. They have things that they have consequences for, right? So if you only have 20 validators, you can be faster, but your security model is based on what those 20 validators say. I like Avalanche because it's got a better security model in my mind, because there's thousands of validators, but it's still proof of stake and its own layer 1. It's got its own security model, similar to what Solana has, but lower hardware requirements, but it's EVM compatible. So the EVM compatible layer 1s and side chains, your Avalanches, your Polygons, your BSCs, those are really different networks, but it's great that they have that EVM compatibility because your Ethereum dApps can just port over and you can use them. That's great. Layer 2, you're inheriting the Ethereum layer 1 security model. So if you're like security model maxi, decentralization maxi, these are good things, right? Therefore, for you, you're like, no, my layer 2 is not these other places where yada, yada, yada. You're like, I will only use Optimism or Arbitrum or the ones that inherit Ethereum's security model. And that's why a lot of like heavy Ethereum people kind of, shoo away the Avalanches of the world, but they embrace the Arbitrums. What's been funny is like there's been more like scammy stuff on Arbitrum than I would have expected. So like people just flocked over there for some Nyan cat meme token. What we're going to see is different projects essentially have a willingness to go to different layers for different reasons. So Sushi, we interviewed Joseph yesterday, like they'll just go wherever their users require them. So they'll go deploy on anything that's EVM compatible pretty much. Uniswap's like, no, we will go to Optimism. And so people will start to essentially have products that become accustomed to using within these different silos of scalability and EVM compatibility. All of this is bullish for Ethereum because what the central component is building code that's Ethereum compatible, building stuff that ends up rolling back to Ethereum. When you're using Ethereum layer 2s like Arbitrum or Optimism, you're also contributing to stuff that then all the transactions that occur on Arbitrum get rolled up and then summarized and then spat back into layer 1. So that's why they're called rollups. I'm not the most technical person in the world, but I'm trying to express this in a way that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. That's why people have different views on them. And that's why inter-protocol liquidity and the ability to go between them, move between them, operate on products between them is very important. And my friends at Layer 0 are building that. So, or built that. It's under triple audit right now. So they just launched this week. And I think that's going to solve a lot of the problems that we have by creating this liquidity fracture between all these different places where people transact and participate. Starkware is another ZK solution. I think there's 4 major ZK and optimistic solutions, and I can't remember all their names, but Arbitrum, Starkware, Optimism, and one other. Those are the ones that you'll hear about on Bankless, and then on my stuff, you'll hear about Avalanche or wherever I can go rotate into some coin I'm going to make money on. Yeah.
The rotator. All I care about All I care about is getting the best fees, the quickest, fastest, non-front ran trade. I just like, can I just like check that box on Uni and like, I don't care, like use whatever you want.
Yeah, you can, especially ZK rollups. So if I remember correctly, you end up with different limitations. So one of the limitations off Arbitrum is I think currently it takes 7 days to get off of Arbitrum. So that's one of the reasons I like Avalanche. Again, I'm not trying to like, whatever. I can bridge to Avalanche with one transaction off Ethereum. I bridge my wrapped Ethereum over. 12 minutes later, 35 confirmations, it's on Arbitrum. Then it cost me like 40 cents to do transactions. And when I bridge back, it's there in like 2 minutes. And I have it back on Ethereum. I love that. With Arbitrum, there's a 7-day offload period because you have to create finality or whatever, right, between these things. So as you move something from one place to the other over that kind of official bridge, it's like these coins, we can't certify that they are represented properly because you don't, kind of like what you have in Lightning, right? Where you could end up double spending. If the people on layer 1 and layer 2 both think they have the coins, then you could double spend those coins. So in order to create that finality over the bridge, it takes 7 days before that roll up syncs back properly or something. The facts I could get wrong the further I get into that story, but that's what creates those bridge delays. And what fixes that is essentially the credit and debit system via the liquidity between layers says like, sure, yeah, we'll create that finality, but we'll like do it on our own time. Meanwhile, you take these Ethereum and you go over there. So as long as there's enough Ethereum to cover everything, you're good to go. That's kind of, I think that's how some of those solutions work without the 7-day delay.
We've gone from T+2 to T+7.
That depends. That depends on how you
yeah, I know.
Yeah. For 99.99% of people, they'll be able to get over quicker. But right now, I don't know that you can on Arbitrum. I think it's just using the full 7-day period. Whatever happened to atomic swaps? I don't know.
I mean, they still exist in various forms in various places. Even Monero has atomic swap capabilities on something somewhere. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And all this bridging stuff, even the LTC has in the works for many, many months now, maybe even a couple of years, is this extension block thing.
Yeah.
Which isn't the exact same thing as bridging, but in my mind, similar.
One thing I wanted to encourage people to do is I would currently have, if I had not learned about DeFi, if I had not been willing to bridge, if you will, I'd probably have like 10% of the money that I have today in crypto. And my willingness to go experiment has had a direct positive financial impact, and I've learned a lot. So don't be afraid to experiment and dip your toe in. And if you just write things off, same thing with NFTs, honestly. Like I've done okay in NFTs. I haven't like crushed, but by experimenting, it allows me to learn and understand. And eventually you can catch an opportunity once you do those things. And if you're not relearning what you know about crypto consistently, if your goal is to be the rotator, then you're going to get left behind. If you're in it for different reasons, or you just like have a comfort level, you're really good at doing what you do, trading, trading leverage or something like that, then sure, you don't have to care as much. You just look at the charts. But if you're looking for upside via the tech and via the evolutions of the ecosystem, the technology is changing constantly. So you got to dig in there, man. What are you looking at?
Yes, sir. I was just looking at optimism and Arbitrum on Uni. I tweeted this out yesterday, but it seems as though the Sushi ETH pair is doing much better than the Uni ETH pair. And my initial first pass was because people, like you're mentioning, they prefer like these multi-chain solutions, bridging over layer 2 bridging, if that's even the proper term. Probably because of that 7-day wait period. Maybe it's a regulatory thing with Uni being.
I think Uni put the kid cuffs on optimism. Like you can't do maximum degeneracy. Like if you want to move millions of dollars on Avalanche or I think Arbitrum, I think you can do it. And I don't think you can do that with Optimism yet. So I think that's part of the TVL thing. Uniswap's just like suited up, you know, they're not degenerate enough. They're the serious people. And what's interesting in crypto is people like the degenerate stuff. They like to ape. So the TVL follows.
I.e. gamble. Yeah, of course. They like to go after those liquidity mining incentives, aka Ponzi schemes, like Kyber is promoting on AVAX, I think it is. I don't know.
No, yeah, they are. It's only a $5 million incentive program, though.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, it's enough to move the needle for a lot of people, I think.
Sure.
I saw this. This is DeFi Llama, something I check like every day, basically for TVL. They're really good, like TVL Ag site for a ton of chains.
DeFi Llama, it's good.
But I saw this the other day with Sushi. It's like there isn't enough space in this window to list all of the chains that Sushi is currently connected with. It's just funny.
Yeah, they go for it everywhere, and I think that's really bullish for Sushi, to be honest. I like Sushi a lot. I really do.
It's definitely a good business move, like to outcompete Uni, who's probably never going to go multi-chain like that. It's just interesting to compare those charts to see where the prices are. And then obviously with the Sushi news that came out yesterday and today. But yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on both of those.
What other news is there out there, Josh?
News? Well, we had Celsius. There's just like this undercurrent of regulatory uncertainty with a lot of stuff. Today it was Celsius. I think Texas and New Jersey came after Celsius.
I didn't see that.
There's a cease and desist in New Jersey for Celsius.
Alabama did a cease and desist for BlockFi not too long ago, which I thought was funny. Like, we don't regulate anybody here, but we're sending a cease and desist to freaking BlockFi. Weird.
There's things coming out against lending and borrowing everything anywhere, it seems like. Statewide, federally, soon, probably. Stablecoins, probably. There's this thing about Evergrande, China, commercial paper, and Tether, if you've been following any of that news. Tether came out and said, we don't hold any commercial paper from Evergrande. And like 2 months ago, Jim Cramer, of all people, did a segment on Tether saying, like, they hold a lot of commercial paper, like the biggest holder in the world, yet anybody I've talked to in commercial paper doesn't know who they are. So his question was like, where are they getting this commercial paper from? Because they're not on any like radar of anybody. And I don't think we still don't know where, but there was some like conspiracy theory concern about Evergrande because they're currently exploding in China.
Yeah, I don't really know what they are.
They're a commercial paper issuer, as far as I know, and retail likes it, and it's like a multi-billion-dollar thing. I'm not the person to ask about what it is, but if you're interested, obviously take a look at that. I only heard about it because, like, through the periphery, somebody was talking about Evergrande, and I was like, what the hell? What is this new thing that Tether is being accused of doing?
I love when we get Tether truthers added again. They just can't get enough. I don't know. My long-standing thing, and we've talked about it on the show, Tether hasn't done themselves any favors many times, but I doubt they're like hyper malicious. I think they're just dealing with poor circumstances most of the time.
I think their PR is the worst in crypto, and I think their customers don't care what they do as much as the people not using them care what they do.
I think that's a good summary.
Like, people outside of crypto see like Tether as this multi-billion-dollar thing, and people inside of crypto are like, yeah, whatever. It's another day, right?
Yeah. Well, and then get redeemed for their Tethers all the time. So what?
Right, exactly. That was my other point. Is like people get dollar redemptions on Tether consistently. So it is what it is. And yeah, there's more regulatory stuff that I saw today. People are mentioning in chat about this ransomware sanctions, and we've talked about this already, but they're coming for Binance because that's where all the dirty money goes through. It goes to Binance. Like, you can look at the chain analytics and see where it's going, and it's Binance. So if you're a terrorist organization or hacker ransomware and you're cashing out through Binance, yeah, they're going to be pissed off at Binance for sure, which they are.
Mm-hmm.
So is that bullish or bearish for us?
I don't know.
We've talked about Binance ad nauseum weeks ago. I wouldn't trust much money on there. Not that it's going to disappear, but it's just like you never know when that avenue is going to just get locked up.
Somebody gets mad at them. It's kind of like what happened with BitMEX, isn't it? Like they really didn't get in trouble until there was talks about like Iranian money flowing through or whatever it was. And then they came
Bittrex.
Then they came calling.
Bittrex was also part of that as well. KYC AML stuff. You know, it is what it is. Just got to roll with the punches, and they know better, Binance. So, you know, they have whatever's coming to them as far as a fine or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. DeFi looks kind of the same as Ethereum. Is that wrong?
No, that's fair.
Just not quite sure what to make of it. I mean, it looks pretty strong, and now it looks like it just wants to consolidate more. Let's see if I look at it versus Ethereum. Yeah, the same trade setup we shared weeks ago is there. It looks like it's bottomed but hasn't broken out.
Yep, unexcitingly ready to make a move here.
Yeah. So my personal Ethereum exposure is still through DeFi primarily because I'm looking for this trade that we outlined, I think, very specific in detail last week. But hadn't broken out yet, so I'm just sitting here on my hands.
Nice little rounded bottom.
It is. I got trolled a lot when I said that Curve ETH looked really good, and guess what? Still looks really good. Like it looks really, really good. Like I think Curve ETH is finally going to do the thing.
I think a lot of the ETH pairs look good. Uni probably not so much, but a lot of the other ones had multi-week, multi-month bull divs, and it's just about a matter of time that stuff starts to reverse against ETH.
That could potentially be a confluence for more chop and majors and let the DeFi rotation happen, huh?
Could be.
Yep. That's all I really know. I really haven't made a lot of trades in the last week. I'm still a degenerate over in the Avalanche ecosystem. I'm still doing stuff in DeFi. Still haven't held very much Bitcoin all year. But I mean, I don't see like systemic risks. I see there's probably going to be more of these opportunities like we had today where get 10, 12% down and you might be able to make some rotations or dip buys or leverage positions, something like that. But nothing huge out there. Like it's not screaming at me one way or the other. If there was going to be one thing that was screaming at us, it would probably be legacy that we shouldn't let go away. It's is it market closed? No, the market closes in an hour. And legacy looks about the worst it's looked in quite some time. Sitting on its, I believe, 50-day moving average, if I was to pull that up, which pretty much it's held the 50-day moving average all year except for September and October of last 2020, so within the last 12 months. But it hasn't hit its 100-day moving average in a year, which means it's kept a fast pace and held the 50-day moving average. So we'll find out next week if the stock market dumperino is the truth or not. As of today, it's just a trap, but and we have these options expiries too. So yeah.
There's some data and backtesting on this, and you mentioned it last week or the week before that stock market doesn't bottom on a Friday. So if this dumps into close, it's not bullish for Monday or next week. And DXY is surging this week, which is extremely bearish for crypto for sure. I hate to see it. I hate to be right about this inverted head and shoulders on the DXY, but it is playing out. It is playing out.
You think it's going to do the thing, or you think it's just going to chop around?
I hope it doesn't do the thing. You have been on the side of it's going to chop around for a while.
Yeah. I think it's going to slam that underside of the cloud and then peter out.
It makes no sense to me fundamentally why this thing is pumping. But, you know, It is what it is. Like, look at this TK cross. That's that's closing.
For something to range, it has to go up sometimes, right? So, like, otherwise it just is down only. So, if you're going to range sideways, that means some days it goes up, some weeks it goes up.
That's fair. But if this breaks 94 next week,
yeah, that would be a little dicey.
Another stat I saw is outflows of funds are at like highs or all-time highs, which isn't bullish for legacy at all. And then there was another stat about passive investing is now bigger than active management as far as fund percentages.
Kind of surprised it wasn't always. Or
I guess
hasn't been for 10 years or something.
It just crossed that threshold.
Interesting.
Because there have been so many outflows from active investing.
Yeah, I mean, the passive investing thing is so funny to me because I feel like you could be a passive investor with 80%, but the 20%, it could become 80% if you active invest, but it's not like you're not going to underperform so badly that it makes a huge difference on your passive stuff. And I just feel like people overdid it, you know, like can the top be in for passive investment? Crypto's obviously, everyone listening to this interested in crypto is interested in some degree of active investing, and sees the opportunity there. But I feel like the people are like, you can't beat the market. You can't beat the S&P 500 is just bogus.
Yeah, that's silly. There's, let me see if I can find that chart from Libertarian Man on Twitter. Just talking about this in the pre-show.
That's his handle with the nice charts.
Yeah, talking about this in the pre-show. This guy that I've discovered on Twitter as of this week. But anyway,
Tesla's still outperforming Bitcoin.
Yeah, since year TD, I guess you could say.
That's kind of depressing.
It is depressing. ETH not on here, obviously. Sol not on here, but
that's
of course.
2 years to date.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
my bad.
2020.
But we've definitely outperformed the S&P in crypto. You know, so if you're here, you've outperformed the S&P.
Yeah. To be fair, they say most can't beat it long term over a lifetime. Yeah, and I think that's true too. Like outperforming, sometimes you have to realize you have outperformed and you should stop while you're ahead with a percentage of your portfolio that like matters. And that's part of the cyclical nature too in crypto, right? Like if you crush it in a cycle, sometimes it's good to say like, you know what? I should chill for a minute and like let the market make some decisions for me. Yeah,
I think too many people are like over 100% risk on so often that they don't realize when like they're up by several multiples in their net worth or whatever, that now's not a good time to like add more. You should be taking off or reducing,
seeking liquidity.
Yeah, just like take a chill pill. But you know, that's just me and my grandma risk tolerance, I guess.
No, I agree with you. I usually push this to the limit. Like I look at right now is a great example, right? Look at some of the stuff I've been in, and it's like, oh yeah, finally broke all-time highs. Let's go 2x from here. But I'm like, you know, if you're 2 or 3x your portfolio over a period of time, it's like, should you be chilling? Like, should you start to take some off? Are you about to get the rug pulled from under you? Usually, by the time you think you're like 100% chance of being right is when you're about to be very wrong.
Like Solana is up 10x from the bottom or whatever it is. It's like, do you really want another 2x? Like,
yeah.
I think people are so laser focused on today, yesterday, tomorrow that they don't realize like 2 months ago, this was 10x lower than it is now.
Yeah.
Someone was asking about Tezos. I hadn't seen this volume on Kraken explode. I don't know what to think of it. Maybe it's a cup and handle. I don't know.
It's exploring all-time highs is what it is. I mean, that's all-time high levels back from 2018. It's, I think, pure chart-wise, bullish, but Tezos doing price exploration is the type of thing that happens late in an altcoin cycle in my mind. And like that is Tezos doing this. It seems like a Me Too trade in terms of layer ones moving. and that makes me nervous. The only reason I say that might not be true is because the NFT ecosystem has really been pretty well adopted with Tezos. So there's a lot of NFT stuff going on Tezos that I think their like green campaigns worked well. So maybe there's a good reason that's not just like a rotation game. If like EOS pumps though, that's definitely like you got to get out. When EOS is going for it, when that's like when Hisaka says like, look at EOS up 200%, I'm gonna have to check myself. Tezos would have been in that bucket, except for I think there's some reasonable justification for it with the movement that's happening with the NFT folks in that land.
I guess. I think it's more a rotator trade than anything, but the NFT stuff isn't going to hurt. Certainly. Yeah, I think all this stuff, LTC.
A typical dude in the chat also saying they're advertising like mad, like the Met Stadium and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's like the stupidest stuff. LTC, EOS, Stellar, Ripple, all this garbage junk still could do really well in Q4. You know, like this could outperform BTC in Q4. Yeah, LTC could briefly outperform BTC in Q4, right? Yeah, I'm not going to like count on it,
but that move that's a sign.
It's not a good sign. I agree, but I'm not saying it can happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like the EOS BTC, I think is like down in the dumps. Yeah. Like look at that. It's like a quad crazy inverted head and shoulder bottom into a cloud. I don't know. Like
when that starts pumping, if that gets to like 0.0005, I'm out of here. Like I'm out. I'm not kidding. I'm just like, that's people begging to get out of their bags. They're going to just act like the rotation is on, but EOS is dead. EOS has infinite money, but EOS is dead. It's a zombie coin.
Yeah, I agree. Doesn't mean it can't have one last zombie pump.
Yeah, totally. But I'm not going to participate in it. I'm going to use it as my sign to leave the things I like. Is Zcash going proof of stake? There's been tons of rumors about
that. I think they think they want to. I don't know if they actually could. This Tezos BTC looks bottomy too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they just need to become a side chain on ETH and just forget they even existed, honestly.
Who, Tezos?
No, Zcash.
Zcash.
Yeah. Just let them merge let Vitalik buy out Zcash and just be done with it. And like, it is what it is.
Privacy for Ethereum.
Yeah, there you go.
Would pump like mad if it did that.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of these older coins. What do they have left in them, you know? Like from a fundamental perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tezos has built out incredible engineering stuff over the past 3 years that they've done nothing. And I've just missed it. And they're finally getting people with their environmental FUD. Like they're the ones that came out and were like, we're green, they're not type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, come on. Ethereum's like launching proof of stake now, you know, like it was so, I used to like Tezos. I thought it had a chance and they just blew it for me. And then now their strategy is so adversarial, chip on your shoulder type of thing. And I don't like it. It's not my style.
Any other coins you're looking at?
Nope. You're so sketched. That's what El Nini fan said. I don't know why. Talk about it in the after show maybe for a minute. Yeah, so we're gonna watch for seeing if any of those things keep moving, and then keeping our eye on what choices are we gonna make here. I mean, I love that BTC is just sitting here. Look at all that compression and these moving averages. You know, you think volatility on the way, but we've really only been doing this for a month, right? Mid-August.
Yeah, the longer momentum can zero out, the longer MAs can stay flat, the longer the cloud can just chill. That sets us up for a massive 3 months ahead of us.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this chart. That's a lot of x-axis in terms of getting from now until the end of the year. So There should be some really fun moves towards the end of the year, one way or the other.
I agree. If I'm right, 6 figures easy. If I'm extra right, 200K is going to be the top.
You think that could happen this year?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's an if
I don't know what I would do with my
this,
hands, Josh.
it's an if this then that situation. It is not a call. It is an if this then that situation. We got to see actually what happens by mid-October first, but I think that's a high probability that we're up there. At least 6 figures. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm super bearish Q1, but yeah.
Go to ledgerstatus.com/sets. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Monuments crumble in the blink of an eye. The easy river has just run dry. In a house of cards, I feel the breeze wound so tight.